Well, yes, everyone, welcome back to the networking session. We have our chairs for the session, Professor N.C. Gupta, Professor P. Rajendra Prasad, and Dr. Arvind Kumar. Now I request our moderator for the thematic session, Ms. Aanchal Garg, to conduct the networking of young scientists. Well, yes, I would like to talk about her. Ms. Aanchal Garg, PhD research scholar from University School of Environment Management, Guru Gobind Singh, Indraprastha University. Ms. Aanchal Garg is a DST Inspire awardee and a part of Indian delegation in BRICS Young Scientists Forum 2019 held at Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. She has been awarded first prize for the best oral presentation at World Environment Summit 2020, International Best Presentation Award at 5th International Virtual Congress, and International Young Scientist Award at 7th International Science Congress, Bhutan. Well, to know more about her, I think she have to be here. So yes, I would like to welcome Ms. Aanchal Garg to take over the forum. Welcome, ma'am.
Um, Good evening to all of you. Our experts, Professor Rajendra Prasad, Dr. Arvind Kumar, Professor N.C. Gupta, and Dr. Aladdin. Uh, all the dear young scientists and all the live audience who are sitting here. So I welcome to all of you for this very interesting networking session, which is the core theme of this conclave. And I also urge to all of you to be proactive for the same session. Before starting this discussion, let me inform you all that in one of the young scientists or two of the young scientists of this thematic session need to present the SCO-STI partnership and the roadmap of this thematic area. The scientists, two or three of the scientists should contact the other scientist and has to conclude the view of all in the form of PPT, which they need to be present tomorrow for 30 minutes. And this PPT should also need to be make in a sense like you have to make a brief of one page for the submission. And for this presentation tomorrow, the best thematic PPT will be selected for the award. So any of two participants for this session can make the PPT. It is open invitation to all of you. So now I would like to show a very small presentation. Can you please show the presentation before starting this networking session? Um, Now, why this SEO Young Scientist Conclave is important? Basically, it is important just because of three T. The one is talent, technology, and trade. By networking, we will able to find out that how the talent can be mobile, how we can exchange the talent and knowledge of our young minds, of our youth, and how the different type of technologies in the field of environment and managing the natural resources can be help in building a partnership, and also how this platform will be helpful in the trade and business among our SU member states. So next, uh, while we were preparing the agenda and the thematic areas of for this SEO Young Scientist Conclave, we have basically looked at the sustainable development goals of our SEO member states, and we have found that somehow there is a high similarity in the sustainable development goals among our SEO nations. Like you can see that in Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan, and Kyrgyzstan and also Pakistan, the clean water and sanitation is their major sustainable development goal. And China is also focusing on climate change, food security, and energy security. In our India, also, the health, the clean water and sanitation. These are the major sustainable goals which we have to achieve till 2030. So the main objective or purpose of this session in this, and also we can see in this PPT that industry and innovation of the global partnership is very important, and how we can achieve by doing a good kind of networking, by exchanging the knowledge, by exchanging the kind of technology among our SEO member states. So purpose of this session is to discuss like what are the common challenges which we all are facing, and what are the possible technological solutions which can be driven through this discussion. And it is very important that as a SEO member states, at this platform we can discuss our joint collaboration in the form of joint project, in the form of seminars or access and sharing any kind of research facility. Now what are the major challenges? Suppose when I was going outside my home, I found that the air which we breathe is very impure. So polluted air is one of the major challenge. Second challenge which all of these SEO member states are facing is the clean water. And the most importantly, we all have to focus on the climate change and the solutions for the global warming. And as in morning, Professor NC Gupta has also told us that there are various species which are being extinct. There are various species which are listed under endangered categories. So what are the solution, that how we can conserve our biodiversity, how we can conserve our natural resources? I think these are the major challenges for on which we have to focus, and about which we will discuss. So let me congratulate to all the participants who are giving their presentation in please remove this, who are giving their presentation in today's session. And now I'm requesting Dr. Arvind Kumar to take over and to ask the questions to all participants.
Since Rajan Prasad is here, so we request Rajan Prasad to say a few words, then we will conduct the meeting. Rajan Prasad?
Yeah, Arvind. Yeah, yes, sir. I'm here. So one of the basic things that we have to see is the presentations are Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the presentations are extremely good, and then you can really find a lot of innovation and then meticulous planning, and the analysis of the problem or the science problem which they have identified are also very clear. So from that perception, what we really need to do in this particular session is, see, you understood number of challenges that have been posed. You had the two experts, plus you also had a number of young scientists who have really come up with which are the challenges they have addressed. So now, and Dr. Anchal Garg also was just mentioning about a few of the challenges like air pollution and then this type of things. Having looked into it, the whole session is meant for two aspects. One is the environment, and the second is the natural resources. But if you really look into the natural resources, what is really happening is a very simple concept. You know, the natural resources are dwindling, they are going down and down. But the reason is very simple. Surface, if you talk about natural mineral resources, the surface resources have extincted. People have already exploited the deeper ones. Some of them were identified, some of them were not identified. That means exploration is still a challenge because you don't see them anymore. They are not present at lower depths. So you need more stronger science to identify the deeper resources. That's one component which we have to really think of. Then Though some of the resources, the most striking resource is we always talk about our hydrates, hydrocarbons, and we are always worried about in a global scenario, the hydrocarbons are going to have two impacts. One is they are going to be finished soon. Second is their impact on the environment is too high. So, but still, one of the resources is the in the oceans, people have really identified that you have a lot of this resource, and this resource need to be tapped. But the biggest problem is that resource is not the simple hydrocarbon, but it is gas hydrate. So people knew that there are huge resources of gas hydrates available, but to drill them and take it out is a big challenge. People could not do it for the past almost 2.5 decades. So that type of challenges which have got a long range impact has to be need to be addressed. Then similarly, water resources. This is something which is very, very important. Without water, there is no life. And how do we really address it? That's a serious challenge which really needs to look into. People have become very conscious about trying to get best quality water, but in the process, a number of things which are damaging the environment have really come in. So we need to really address them. That also need to be taken up on a priority basis. We are worried about quantity and quality, but in the process of trying to get the best quality, we are also damaging the environment because the reject is thrown into the environment. By way of getting more quantity, we are trying to utilize the groundwater resources far beyond their replenishable levels. So that means we are indirectly damaging the environment to a very, very large extent. One needs to address this as a real big challenge. So now, having said about the natural resources, all these natural resources in one form or other, whether it's biological, it is fishery, or it is a geological resource, living or non-living, it really does not matter, is going to have a very serious impact on the environment. How are we going to address that? And we have meddled with the environment enough, and I think any more meddling with this nature and environment is really going to cause us, put us into a very, very uncomfortable stage. Life is going to be miserable. We always try to make our life as good as possible. So keeping this in view, I think I gave a rather more a non-scientific perception of what is to be done, but you have to pick up the science behind it and come up with a challenge, and how are you going to really address that particular challenge. Once each individual of you are coming up or discussing about these challenges, at the end of the day, we'll try to zero it down to one or two challenges at the most, and then make a clear definition of it. And so that in the night, you people can join into groups and then try to form or create a very good PowerPoint presentation to be presented tomorrow in a joint fashion. So this is, I think, with this very brief introduction, I think you people should really start, in my opinion. We should start with it, or Anchal, or you want Dr. Ghosh also to give because you see, Aladdin is not available. He has an appointment. So maybe we can request Dr. Ghosh, Gupta ji, very, very quickly, or we proceed. Gupta ji, you would like to make a quick comment?
Yes.
Yeah, because later I think Dr. Arvind ji would also be giving a very brief outline of some sort of more, I would say, direction that would help the boys to do it a better job. Yes, sir. Please, sir.
Yes, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to just, I will just comment for some aspects. You know, if you see in the last 60 years, the GDP of the globe has increased from up to $60 trillion. And still, 2/3 people are living in abject poverty and 1 billion people are living in deprivation. And this all social unrest is because of this malaise. You know, if you see on the front of, as Achal was telling that in my presentation also, I talking about the wildlife and wild species destruction. So humans have wiped out around 60% of the wildlife since 1970, as per the WWF Living Planet report. And we are having a climate change uh, challenge for India also. It is estimated as if 60 centimeter there rise in the sea level, then around 1 billion people will become the climate refugees. But country like in India, we are having a great challenge because we are having around 7,000 kilometers of coastal area. So we are also facing a great challenge on the climate change aspect in our country, and climate change can also be a challenge for us in saving our forest resources, biodiversity, and agriculture. This all uh, on the front of clean water, because in our country, in India, you know around 40% of the population is not having access to the clean drinking potable water. So this is a very challenging area for us. And at the same time, with increasing prosperity in particularly SCO countries, the solid waste per capita is also increasing. That is also a challenge for us to how to manage the solid waste, because if we not manage the solid waste properly, then we cannot keep our cities clean and green. So this I have to comment. At the same time, the depletion of natural capital and natural resources is also major concern, not only for India, for all SU countries. We have to conserve the natural resources. This is also the one aspect. So with this all, I conclude here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor N.C. Gupta and Professor Rajendra Prasad. Now my question is open to all the participants of this thematic session. Yin Tang, Dr. Pooja, Dr. Anji Ulu, Dr. B. Ravikiran, and Dr. Ajmal Masood, and every participant, like what is the importance of your work, and why people should collaborate with your work. Can Dr. Pooja, are you there?
Hello.
Dr. Pooja, how your work will help our SEO member state if we give a chance to you for the collaboration?
Yeah, thank you. So I would like to say that as discussed earlier by all earlier panelists and other young scientists, that clean energy, clean environment, clean water is what I think is a very common thing amongst all SEO member states. And we need to work together to address the issues in this particular domain. My work in particular, since we are working in fundamental science to final delivery level, that end-to-end solution, which is really required to be for the deployment point of view. And there are several scientific and technological challenges that are required to be addressed in all these kind of aspects. So in this direction, SEO member state can collaborate to come up with a better solution which can be used at user end and at different level. That's what I want to say.
Dr. Yin Tang, can you please tell us that what is the research priority according to you should be there for SEO member states? What kind of research should be on priority?
Okay. Yeah, I just share some ideas. I totally agree with Professor Gupta and Professor Prasad. Their ideas that the climate change is very big issues for us. We should not only for India and Pakistan, and also in China. We also even the global we facing this very a serious issue. And I think that's not like regional things, and we should like cooperate, fight for those things. And even like I remember a movie that told us like when a butterfly they fly and maybe the other side around the world they will be affected. So which means we can't live like alone. We should collaborate like and the water resources is limited and especially for the groundwater resources to some extent, this resources is unsustainable. Um, so yeah, I think we should like work together and for protect those things. Yeah, I think that's all.
Dr. Ian, you are talking about the ground water resources, and I think nowadays there are various hazardous or toxic compounds which are somehow entered into our groundwater. And somehow, due to the leaching and so many things, these pollutants are, degrading the quality. So, do you have any idea about the mechanism or any technology to uh, overcome with these challenges? And I think this question is to open to all of you, because I found that many of the presenters are there belong with the water treatment and wastewater quality something. So can anybody please respond for this fact?
Yeah, thanks for this good question. I think that's true. The water resource is not about the quantity things, as the quality is also very important. Like some of my colleagues, they also did some research about this, and I think one solution is we should develop some good models like the groundwater models to simulate or predict the contaminant of the groundwater. And we also should focus is on like the salt water intrusion, like one of the presentation just presented. Yeah, I think the seawater intrusion will affect a lot the groundwater, especially for the coastal region. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Ajmat, do you want to comment over the same? Can you please unmute yourself?
Yeah, thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to talk again. I think, as I mentioned in my presentation, that this upper Indus Basin and especially the whole belt of Himalayan region, right from Afghanistan to Pakistan, India, and Nepal, and this whole belt is very important for all this region, especially for Pakistan and India and all these connecting countries. So we should have some sound collaboration, especially for glaciers research. Actually, I would suggest like this. And if we come downstream, then groundwater resources, as Yin Tang suggested, that groundwater resources are also very important as far as quantity is concerned or quality is concerned. Both are important. And these water resources, especially groundwater, they don't have boundaries actually. So we have India connecting with us, and similarly Afghanistan and other areas. So we should have some collaboration, and we should talk about how we can improve the quantity and quality of these resources.
All right, Dr. Ajmat, I think he is right that we have to focus not only on the quantity but quality also,
Yes.
if we really want to manage the resources. And can you please tell us that how this glacier climatology have been linked with these water resources management strategies? Can you please?
Yeah. Actually, you know that global temperature is increasing, and we also already have observed 1 degree rise in temperature. And similarly, all countries are facing this increasing temperature. So as you know, temperature is rising, then of course our glaciers are melting in the whole region, all Himalayas, Hindu Kush. But in Pakistan, one thing is also very important, that we have glaciers which are not depleting, but they are surging as well. And we have some stable glaciers, and we have glaciers of having increasing masses. So and these glaciers also are problem. Sometimes they surge and they block the river flows, and there are a lot of glacier lake outburst floods, which are very dangerous to this such mountainous regions. So climate is obviously there will be more temperature, more glaciers other than this specific area of Karakoram. Other areas are facing the glacier depletion due to increasing temperature. So this is direct link of glaciers and temperatures.
Okay. Thank you. Is Dr. Kotha Kota is there?
Yes, ma'am.
Uh,
Can you audible?
Dr. Kotha Kota, in your presentation, you were telling about the kind of biodegradable product which you know, synthesize using these agro waste. So, can you please tell us that how these kind of biodegradable products can help our SCO member states, and why our SU member state should need to collaborate with your this proposal or your project?
Ma'am, actually, nowadays there is a major issue in plastic all over the world, including India,
Can you
China.
please be little loud?
1 minute. So, there is a major issue in all over the world regarding the plastic. If you go for European countries, if you go for China, if you go for in India, especially mass population countries, they are moving shifted to the PLA and PBAT kind of material. So that kind of material is not 100% biodegradable. It will degrade 80% and it will leach and it will become nanoparticle leaching into the waters and ocean. And again, cleaning the water is the issue, and the groundwater issues are. So now people want regarding 100% biodegradable with natural resources. So if you collaborate with any issue nations, any countries, it's more helpful for the especially natural products can enhance, because every country depend upon their own natural resources. Majorly, every country in all over the world, rice, wheat is major things to consume. So they are producing huge amount of waste that will utilize for this biodegradable is more helpful for the all the societies and rural entrepreneurs.
Um,
Thank you.
all right. And can you please tell that other than your this particular research, what are the areas under which you know, you want to work further, and like among all of the presentations which you have listened in today's session, like in which topic more you want to do research? What
Yes,
is the research priority in your mind?
madam, I am more interested working on towards the packaging materials, like
Oh,
agriculture processing kind of materials. So
okay.
and the waste utilization, waste to wealth. So that is most priority to work and to develop the by using waste to wealth, like food packaging and also biodegradable and bioplastic from natural resources, and also like agriculture processing missionaries kind of thing. I am very interested to work with SUO nations. Thank you.
Right. All right. I think during this COVID-19 pandemic scenario, we all have noticed that, you know, uncertainly there are so many changes we have faced, and as well as we are also facing various challenges. And plastic waste management and hazardous or toxic waste management is one of the biggest challenges which we have faced during this COVID scenario. So, Kotha Kota, can you please enlighten us with some facts regarding this?
Yes, madam. Really, when you see even India is at the time of February, all the states they started banning the single-use plastic, especially February and January, even including Tamil Nadu, Kerala, every state they impose. But when you suddenly happened regarding to the COVID issue, everyone because of that certain restrictions, they can't bother about for the this all the kind. But now actually major wastage from the especially medicinal wastage, everyone developing using mask, everyone using, now they are calling for all the calls from the regarding the waste, how will the plastic recycling and all things. So if you develop any such kind of materials by using natural resources, there is no problem for that. It's the biggest challenge. Even I'm seeing everywhere posting in the social media, you play with the plastic will play with nature will play with us, the quotations I see. So by we are using natural resources, we can convert this useful for the using instead of using plastic. Oh, once upon a time, the mainly plastics solve the so many issues. But now there are technology. We have updated the technology by using the natural resources. We can more forward than use the plastic. We can move that way. This is my opinion. So it's a one good advantage by use the natural resource. You can develop any kind of materials like mask also, you can go for the even code issue solving also. It's more helpful for the to in future aspect, especially glacier aspect and also environmental issues and all things. Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Is anybody wanted to ask any question to our participants, our young scientist?
Hello, am I audible, ma'am? This is Dr. Satish from CLRI.
Yes, Dr. Satish, you are audible.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I wanted to make a remark with respect to the Dr. Anjanelu had made a presentation. Actually, that was a very nice presentation where he had said that no, leather industry had two major problems. One is the shortage of the raw material, and the second one is the animal cruelty. Okay, basically, both the points are needs to be corrected. Basically, in India, not only India, the globally we have the enough raw material resources. Okay, even in the global itself, we have the processing capacity of around 7 to 8 million tons we are processing. That is not a problem at all. And the second one is he stated that we are killing the animal for the leather. That is also not true. I just wanted to emphasize that we are depending on the meat industry. Okay, we are consuming the byproduct of the meat industry. As long as the meat industry is survives, we will also survive. If we all the global manpower will become vegetarian, we have no job. Okay, that is all. Even the today in social media, everybody is propaganda that we are killing the animal for leather. That is not true. That is what I like to emphasize. So basically, we are depending on the byproduct of the meat industry. That is the point. And then with respect to my work, where I propose, the solvent come reagent model. Okay, where I propose the use of green solvent for the natural fiber processing industry. Possibly the possible question is that the water is a green solvent when compared to other organic solvent. The global research is focusing on water-based processing technique. Why you wanted to go back for the green solvent, a solvent-based system? No doubt about it, water is the green solvent. But when you look at the entire chain of the leather processing or the textile processing technique, where the used water cannot be treated. That is the major problem. When you use the organic solvent, when you select the green solvent, that can be easily converted into the reactive material that can be used for processing. For example, in leather making, where we consume huge quantity of water as well as we consume huge quantity of the chemical. Okay, when I use the green solvent, after the processing, the solvent can be converted into the reagent that can be used again for the leather manufacturing. Therefore, that will be the closed cycle. The cycle can be closed by using a green solvent instead of selecting the water. That is what I like to propose. Even when I start this project, we started this project as a research initiative for waterless tanning as a 12th five-year plan project. The moment I sent a paper to all the journals, repetitive journal, the first question they asked, what is the green solvent? Why you wanted to go for this one? It has taken around 3 to 4 years to convince the reviewer, and to make the point, as you look at the entire chain, the usage of green solvent would be a viable option for making the manufacturing sector, especially leather and textile, is sustainable. Okay, now people are looking for supercritical carbon dioxide, supercritical fluid as one of the supercritical carbon dioxide fluid.
哎，充分说明生前都解决不了的事儿，死了更解决不了。
Sorry, some interruption.
我也觉得他那一看就有人保了，反映的很重要问题一个没有，最后来一个说有。
Somebody's in town. So nowadays people are looking for a supercritical fluid as an alternative for a fiber processing technique, especially in textile. Textile dyeing and supercritical is emerging, as well as in leather also we are looking for a supercritical fluid also. Therefore, I would suggest selecting the green solvent and converting them again into the reagent for the same fiber processing technique would be a viable option instead of going for the water treatment, water-based system. That in this manner, I would like to collaborate with the SEO nation where we can focus on development of reagent. Like as I already said, no, we have developed as a CSIR CLRI solvent selection tool. We have developed a CSIR CLRI solvent selection tool for the selection of green solvent. Based on the tool, we have identified the cyclic carbonate-based solvent systems are well suitable for leather manufacturing system. Now we are well established the use of cyclic carbonate for leather processing. Now we are focusing on to develop a leather auxiliaries from the cyclic carbonate and exploration of cyclic carbonate in the different application. So in this manner, I would like to collaborate with the SEO nation, and we can also possibly we think of a switchable solvent. Like today we have the various switchable surfactant, we have a switchable polymers that can be used. In similar manner, we can also develop a switchable chemicals for leather manufacturing. In that manner, I would like to collaborate with the SEO nation. If any doubt is there, I'm happy to answer for that.
All right, Dr. Satish. I think it's the correct time, and also it's the right platform where you can really collaborate with these SEO nations. So now, can you please tell that how will you start to do this collaboration among the participants? How will you start?
Yeah, the first thing is Dr. Anjanelu said that he is developing some leather-based material like vegan leather material from the banana fabric or those things and all. Even we can also think of developing those kind of materials from the leather industry waste also. That is the one point. Even because if we take the raw material, 1000 kilogram of raw material, raw hides and skin, where the only 250 kilogram is converted into leather. Ultimately the final leather. The 750 kilogram will be a solid waste. So we can also think of developing those kind of biodegradable product even from the leather waste. We can also focus on that area. We also have the concept called developing a regenerated leather from the leather material itself. Okay. So since what I could understand from the Anjanelu presentation, that where they are strong in the designing a technique, the raw material, apart from the raw material selection, they are very good in the manufacturing setup. So that we can collaborate with Dr. Anjanelu also, so that we can also think of developing a product from the leather industry solid waste also. In addition to that, we can also think of developing leather auxiliary those system. Not only that, here I would like to emphasize that so far we have in fundamentally also, so far what we have used, only water as a solvent, and whatever the chemical development is based on the water as a medium only. Okay, now when you think of water as a solvent and leather chemical, so where we can play off, at the interface, water and solvent interface, how the leather chemical will behave, how does the collagen, the fundamental protein will behave in the presence of solvent as well as the water as the interface. Those fundamental studies also will be helpful. Not only that, all the biological system, water is the major force, the stabilizing the matrix. So when you interact with the other solvent, how it will affect the water molecule hydrogen bonding, those fundamental things can be helpful to understand the biological system.
All right, Dr. Kota Kota, as Dr. Satish has already told us that he's interested somehow in your project. So, what is your view to do the kind of collaboration with him?
Yes, madam. Sure. Actually, I am also CSR
Can
person.
you please open your camera if possible?
Yeah, yeah, sure. Sorry, it's some interruption is there. Can I speak like this?
Yes, no problem.
Actually, I am also part of CSIR. So sure,
Okay.
I will actually, I am majorly we are facing in the coating solutions, and also he telling that about regarding the issues of means leather shortage, and I told because I some of the people from approached here near to the Kerala and Tamil Nadu, they approached us regarding the majorly based on that last 5 years back we started this work, and also we certain point of view or we are facing some problem on the final finishing things. Sure, we will reach him and we will make a collaboration. Definitely we will work because in the CSIR institute he also from part of CSIR. Definitely I have all his data and I have all his the information. Definitely I will interact with him and I will make my finishing a final finishing, and we are planning to go for commercial level also. Some of the industries interested our technology also because there are huge plenty of raw material what we chosen in especially in the Kerala and Tamil Nadu, the huge amount of banana and especially pineapple. That's why they are interested. Even some of the people from Northeast and also West Bengal, they approach this technology and all. So we need when you go for commercial level from lab scale to commercial level, we want to interact with different peoples. We want to work as a collaboration. It will get good finishing because the industry will establish. It's not a small amount of money. It's big investment is required. Small mistake also it will lead to big damage. That's why even our team have a lot of different kind of experts. Polymer persons are there, microbial persons are there. We are working a team wise. So we have interact with other CSIR labs and even that person. It's more helpful for us. Definitely, I will reach him and I will interact with him for my further finishing and all the things. And we will give credit to him also. Thank you for SEO making this good platform for exploring things.
Thank you so much. Is anybody is having any question with our young scientist participants from our live platform?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah.
I think
So-
Dr. Deepak Pinjari is there. He want to ask some question.
Can somebody enlighten us on life cycle analysis or environment impact assessment, considering the scope of the SEO countries?
Dr. Pinjari, question is, can somebody among our young participant can enlighten us with the life cycle assessment
Or environment
of
impact assessment?
the pollutants of environmental parameters, the life cycle assessment? Dr. Amzad, Dr. Pooja, Dr. Kota Kota, Dr. Ravi Kiran, one participant from Russia, Dr. Irina. You want to tell? Okay. I think Rana Pratap Singh, can you please give him mic, Rana? Okay.
So I would like to outline the role of life cycle assessment in validating the environmental sustainability of a product or a process. Here, as a part of the sustainability pillars like economics, as well as society and the environment. So the LCA is, so at present LCA is the only tool to assess all the environmental impact of a product or a process on the various environmental impact categories. So, so as per ISO standards and in the framework of LCA, so this is the reliable as well as a robust tool to assess the environmental sustainability. And here in LCA, we can get the data or the impact of each and every input on the environment with respect to midpoint categories as well as endpoint categories. And we can able to sort out the hot spots of a process where at which step it is showing more impact on the environment assessment. So for that, there are number of tools are there. So like SIMA Pro and Gabi are the leading tools, where SIMA Pro is a user-friendly tool, which I am working with that one. And we can able to assess the environmental sustainability of any sector. Like if you say an agri-based biorefinery system, any biorefinery system. So in terms of environmental issues, everyone is saying that biorefinery systems are sustainable, but it is not true in fact. Like if you see 2G ethanol, if you compare the environmental impact of ethanol with the conventional diesel, in all the impact categories, uh, the 2G ethanol is not showing the environmental less impact on the environment. Only in case of global warming impact, global warming potential only, this is showing less impact or less effect on the environment. Whereas in case of land use, other resources, like different issues are there. Like so I can say that at present LCA as well as the material flow analysis will only can comprehensively assess the environmental sustainability of a process. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Rana.
Thank you. Anybody from live audience want to ask any question?
Yeah, my question is to Dr. Anjaneyulu. Am I audible to Dr. Anjaneyulu?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, so you were talking about a very interesting presentation. First of all, about the reusing of the agro waste and producing packaging products. Like packaging industry is in very much need of this renewable materials from, especially bio-based materials. But how do you think it will compete with the existing plastic industry? I know plastics are not environmental friendly, polluting, etc. But when it comes to cost wise, how will the bio-based products compare when compared to the plastic industry?
Yeah, thank you. Especially now, see, last 10 years back, there is a see one olden days, 1980s. We are there is before plastic. We are using natural resources like using banana leaf, pala leaf, something we are eating, and we are at the time there is no point of cost effective. Now, when plastic came, exists the cost effective things, because when you develop any product, they will compare what existing products in the society. Even who are purchasing technology for with us, they are first to question this thing only. Sir, how can I will survive with this product in long life with the industrial way like that? We already proved that, and we now whatever we developing, major point, especially in rice bran, wheat bran, agriculture waste, we are not using any binder generally. Now we are not using the binder, we are not using involving the much unit operations in the production. So final cost we are bringing to as much as low. Generally, now we are getting the plastic plates maybe around 1 rupee and 5, even 50 paisa like that. Now our product is 1.5. There is a small cost variation, but the government imposing the strict rules regarding the health point of view. If you go for the that point of view, everyone will one day they want to turn their mindset. Generally, now India is a mass population. We are not reaching the stage of the concern about health, but due to COVID issue, even the very rural people also think about health. Here, mainly health is the major resource. Whatever earn, that is not a matter. So in that point, they will change the mindset. Even they can go prefer above little bit costlier also, but they will think about the health. At that time, they will see the natural resources. They will think about the world. They will think about the environment and all the things. So definitely the world moving forwardly regarding this. I even see nowadays the people preferring for eating the food with natural way, without any synthetic binders, without any additives and all the things. Even you put the word organic, even it's containing or not also, we are spending like money thing, anything. Is now 60% of population reaching that stage in India, because due to software, they are the livelihood improving and all the things. So I am feeling that whatever we are developing natural resources, one day it will reach that stage and it will replace the plastic, the market. That is chances is there. So even whatever we are developing, we are keeping mind cost thing. We can't develop the product like 15 rupees plate and compare with 1 rupee. We are always developing the process. We are first keep in mind, so it will be less cost with the it is easily feasible to the rural people. That's why we are always using for the even also our all natural resources, whatever is using that is very cheap. See, in agro waste, whatever we are preferring the raw material, that is very cheap. You can get 10 rupees kg or 5 rupees kg the brand even. And that is when your raw material is cheap. Why plastic is cheap? Because plastic, the raw resources and production is very cheap. That's why final product is cheap. So we are also maintaining that quality, and we are also going. We are not choosing the raw materials very high costly. We are not choosing the research towards to that mark. So that is my opinion. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. Like before, like a few decades ago, we were used to be self-sufficient and self-sustainable living was there. There was no this much pollution, but due to this overpopulation, industrialization, so many issues, only rich people or people who are well off can afford for this organic farm. Just people are labeling it as an organic food, but you don't know whether it's organic or not. But 50 years ago, everyone used to be using this organic this thing. So keeping in this thing in mind, obviously I think cost will be a major factor to spread the bio-based materials into the public, and mindset is also important. Mindset change is a major factor. See, we even if we take some ourselves as a researchers, when we talk in the conferences about sustainability, everything, recyclability, but when we go to a showroom or we go to a mall or something, I think that mindset we has to be there with us always is what I feel. Thank you, Mr. Anjaneyulu.
Thank you.
Anchalji, can I add something into this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hello,
Yes,
yes, sir.
Yes. About the one thing, extraction of biopolymer from the natural resources is one thing, and another issue we can find is the processing technique. So converting polymer into a plastic shape, we require a lot of chemicals, including plasticizer. And even though we are using, suppose, a commodity polymers like say polyethylene or polypropylene, you require diactyl phthalate as a plasticizer. And even if we want to convert the same shape using a biopolymer, you are need of plasticizer, which should be a bio-based plasticizer. Otherwise, even though we are playing with the cost, we are playing with so many things, the chemical effect is not going to change on the human health, even though we are considering the COVID effect. That's my opinion. Yeah.
All right. Is anybody else having any question from the live audience?
Hello, sir. Uh, in one talk, they have mentioned that biofilters for drinking water treatment to address bacterial antibiotic resistance. So the filters which are used for drinking water systems, how can, I mean, what is a major mechanism which can address this AMRs?
Um, he's not there right now.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, may I request Dr. Arvind Kumar for his questions?
Are you live?
Professor.
Professor Rajan Prasad, could you hear me?
Yeah, I'm in the line. Yeah.
So, sir, can you say, then I will just supplement or add
Yeah.
at the end.
Okay. I think, you see, as far as the discussion went on till now, I realized that there are only three concepts which have been brought up. One is, you see, I think clean water and environment, and then groundwater contamination. When I say water, it is surface water, groundwater, and everything put together, the contaminants, and then how do you really address the contaminants? These contaminants can be not only the normal geogenic contaminants or routine contaminants, but it also includes the emerging contaminants, because you are talking about antibiotics, and that's the component. So the one of the major issues that has really come up is, I think, an integrated approach of putting all these things together, right? Like, the when you talk about water, then water, surface water, drinking water, the groundwater, then wastewater, all such components put together, look at the quality aspects and find out the sources of contaminants, then their dynamics in their system or across the systems. That means a contaminant can emanate from the atmospheric water and then get into the surface water and then reach the subsurface water. So its entire dynamics that and its fate. And somebody is also talking about good models need to be developed for groundwater models to look into the contaminant movement. That means mass transportation need to be really looked into in a proper way. Then also the seawater intrusion, because most of these SCO nations have got this seawater intrusion is one of the major issues. So the populations keep on increasing or mounting up on the coast, so that the fresh water is under stress and seawater coolly gets into the system. Once it gets into the system, it's very difficult to send it back. So that is one component which I feel is good. But in this, I think what I have is, I think Ying Tong, and then maybe Won from China. These are two people who are really talking about it from two different angles. I would like to really see whether your focus would be on both freshwater, or would you like to have the focus on wastewater, because many a times the quantity is different, and as a result, the when you want to scale up a particular system, then if the concentrations are too high, it may not be possible. Example, if you are trying to use a membrane technology or biofilm, which you are really talking about to absorb some of the biological components, so that type of things could be a problem. So that's one question which I have to both these people. So I think to precisely give the name, I think it is, what do I say? Ying Tong, and then I also see another name who was working on WoW, right? Anchal, is it? Yeah, Kunwan, right. Kunwan, and these two people were talking about it, and then some of the Indian colleagues are also very much interested in that. That's one problem which I see. I think you should further continue the discussion on that and come up with some strategy. Then the second thing which I really see is the issue that has been brought out by Anjaneyulu, and then though leather is only one of the components, I think the other gentleman, Mr. Satish, I think we would really like to see who are all the SCO nation friends who would be very much interested in this, because these are things which appear to be very, very ideal, like the what Satish says is almost trying to say that I really don't know whether he should answer. It is, are you going to call it as a zero discharge system completely, because you are trying to reutilize the systems and then try to extract the chemicals out of it and reuse them? But does it mean that you are not going to be left with any of the wastes that are going to be generated? But if it is so, it would be really fantastic. And similarly, all the natural materials that are being utilized can be used to have your day-to-day requirements. That's what Anjanil has put in. But here my suggestion and the question would be, you should really look into which are all the components are the natural materials. Are you trying to get the natural materials while they still are has got some purpose to do, or when they become waste, then only you start utilizing them to use it for something or other? Just as you see, Satish was saying that, you see, many a times, as long as your food is a production, you have no option except to cool, if and then the skin will come. But if it is an old age animal, then it will automatically come. But the only question would be, you promote the livestock growth, and then for food, then it's a different story altogether. So now I think I would say that this is one more question, one more science issue that really has got a lot of scientific value. Plus, at the same time, I would say that it has got a lot of applications, both on society and economics. But I think one of the things which Dr. Arvind or somebody was mentioning, that social acceptability is a very, very important factor. See, unless people are really ready to take care of it, I think that would be a problem. So Arvind, my feeling is, I think these are a few questions. And then I was wondering, we have a number of Russian friends who are there. Maybe they also have this, oil and gas problems. But the only question that would be is that the soils, the quantum of soils which are contaminated with oil spills are relatively low. The oil spills are more prominent in sea waters, where you have the marine traffic that's coming in, and oil spills are quite heavy. But the oil spills are very sporadic. They are non-point sources, because the oil spills can be, if a vehicle is going, there could be a quantum of oil spill that can happen on the soil. But if you think that's a question which really need to be quantified in terms of quantity. So the Russian gentleman who is really talking about it on the, but if the scenario is almost to the tune of 1 to 2%, because we have enough of traffic on the roads, so it could have really caused a big damage. So then it really needs to be addressed immediately. So that could be another major excellent problem which can be really be thought of. So I think maybe the CRAS, the water resources, I think Masood was mentioning, those two presentations can be really be clubbed into the entire water problem, which can be really be thought of. So I think with this brief, I see that there is something really good enough. So at least there are two zero down points where I think they can have n number of corollaries to that, and then you can get lots of scientific questions coming emanating out of them. So I would suggest that I think people should still work today on these two major focal points, and then come up with the science questions. And then how do you really address these science questions would be another issue. And then, but you should also I would say that this country is interested, this country is interested, and this is how we can come together. So that should also get reflected tomorrow's presentation, while the presentation can be done by more than 2 or 3 people, okay? One or two, more than one. So at least 2 to 3 people, if they can make the presentation, it would be wonderful. So I think, Dr. Arvind, I would say that this is the basic comments that I would like to give. And then climate change is one which people are saying, so that also can be thought of while you are talking about both natural environment and water source. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Professor Rajendra Prasad. And I think Sir has already enlightened all the facts that for doing a good collaboration, we need to identify the problem. And from this problem, we need to take the challenges, and we have to find out the solutions in the technological and innovative manner. So now, may I request Dr. Arvind Kumar for his any question and to our participants?
Before that, I would like to, if Professor N.C. Gupta is available, I would like to hear from him.
Yeah, I think he's there, I suppose.
Professor Gupta, are you available? Yeah.
Yeah.
So can you give your comments, sir, input or suggestion, whatever form you like?
See, overall, I would say that presentations are very good, and many new issues regarding and many new innovations they talked about regarding the water pollution, and how to treat the water with with different techniques, and the Indian uh, participants. They also came up with new ideas, and they're very good presentation from their side, particularly Satish, Murli, Pooja, and this biodegradable products from agro waste. So overall, these the very nice presentation were there. This is, I would say. With this, I conclude my comments.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable comment and giving the time. Now it is time to just zero down what we have discussed in the morning. And I have three, you can say, ideas for preparing a way forward roadmap. First is that, first of all, either voluntarily, if the young scientists agree to take responsibility to prepare 1 page or 2 page kind of note for way forward for research and innovation collaboration in SCO framework, and they together can discuss among the group and come with a small report, as I said, 2 pager maximum. And tomorrow they have to make a presentation of about 30 minutes, and the presentation may be done by one person or jointly by 2 person. But more important is that whomever today attended the session, or whom also who has somehow not able to connect directly or indirectly, we have the list of all the participants, expected participants, which we have received. We will give you the email, and you can contact them through email. The leader means I will choose one or two. Either you give your name, or we will suggest some name. So one of them or two of you may take the responsibility to prepare the draft concept note of 2 pager for way forward for research collaboration in SCO member state. The report should highlight three things. First is that what should be our research priority? We have discussed in the morning n number of topic ranging from wastewater treatment, drinking water purification, solid waste management, green chemistry for, you can say, processing, green chemistry for mineral extraction, and climate change and its impact on natural resources, climate change effect on health, and other aspect So these are the topic which has been discussed in the morning, but it is not limited because in one conclave we cannot, you can say, accommodate all the participant. We had a lot, you can say, large number of application received from the uh, from the various country, but due to time constraint, or you can say the limitation, we have adjusted. Means each country has been given chance to send 15 nomination. So that is the that was one of the, you can say, constraint under which we had worked. But somehow we have been able to reflect all the areas, major important areas, in all thematic area, not only in the environment and natural resources. And environment, natural resources, health, water, energy, biotechnology are all interlinked. So this need a kind of multidisciplinary approach to address a common challenges. So in the morning, Achal was saying that almost each of the SCO country has nationally determined SDG goal, which are common, like water and sanitation, innovation and industrial development, and then health aspect, which are all interlinked. So suppose I am a participant, or then I will say that, okay, in SCO country, my opinion is that, first of all, we are facing the challenger of COVID. So I want a vaccine to be developed. I am giving one example, and I am ready to collaborate with any country in SCO country. Okay. So whomever have the idea that, okay, in my country, these are the research institution working in the vaccine sector, they would like to collaborate. So I'm giving that this is a kind of perspective under which you have to prepare the report. Second point should be highlighted that what is the scope of collaboration? In scope of collaboration means, do we have a kind of facility, manpower, or the interest group, whether we have expression of interest. Somebody says, suppose I have chosen a topic, wastewater treatment, but I will say I have no interest, then what is the use of that? So we have to see what are the expression of interest, what are the organizations, some of the organizations which are working in that in this area. So that way we have to reflect. We cannot list all the, you can say, institution. But in India, like in wastewater, NERI are there, IICT are there, your NIST is working. Similarly, in agro-based and waste, bio-waste management, so many institutions is working in the country. So you have to give a kind of impression that yes, these are the common challenges, and a number of institutions, reputed institutions in each country are working in that area. Third component is that as a young scientist, I want to know what are the enabling mechanism. Enabling mechanism means what are the opportunity, what I expect from the government. Like I am from DST, so you suggest that if you want to continue or keep the momentum going on, or to further deepen the collaboration, what should be put into the place as a mechanism? So I can suggest based on my experience that initially we do a kind of what we call research and innovation agenda setting. First of all, we should know what are the challenges, what are the interest group, and then we can say that, okay, if you are interested, then we want that the SCO member state government should make a provision for joint collaboration and co-invest. Co-invest means each country should put some money for giving the opportunity to the young scientists for collaboration. This is one aspect. Second aspect, that each country has a research facility, mega facility. So if my scientists want to go to, suppose that Russia or China, to work on simulation modeling with Tiang, what was his name? Tiang. So I can say if she can invite or we can send based on our, you can say, investment, that I will give all that airfare, travel, everything, 1 month stay, you go learn and come back and apply here. So that is that we call a kind of enabling mechanism. Whether this one event of young scientist conclave is sufficient to zero down to finalize the scope of our collaboration, or do you think that such kind of conclave should be done at regular interval, so that we keep engaging, keep updating, and keep sharing our best practices available in each country. The knowledge are available in each country, technology are available in each country. So in the beginning, Achal said there are three key pillars for organizing this kind of conclave. First purpose, that see, we have a huge demographic dividend and huge youth population in this in our member state, and they are eager. They have the knowledge, they have the creativity, they have the professional background. So, how to mobilize these human resources for the benefit of our country, for their benefit, for benefit of their career development, benefit for their upgradation of a skill, and benefit of their research to take up at the larger scale, like global scale. So whatever we are doing, suppose in this region, how this knowledge become a global brand for the at the international level, how the our collaboration can help in co-incubation of a startup or take a startup and enterprise development. So one stage is research and component. When research is done, we have to move toward the innovation. When we are moving toward the innovation, it gives the entrepreneurship and then wealth creation. So this value chain, total whole value chain, how we can utilize for our purpose, means our regional purpose, and how we can take it forward, means we take off, we call take off to the another region. So that should be the broader goal of such kind of platform. And just for information, that we are working on the new opportunity or new enabling mechanism, wherein the young scientists, it is not only for young scientists, it is open to all the scientists, will be open to all the scientists uh, in form of joint collaborative project, which will coming in very near future. This is a kind of ongoing under discussion with the all STO member states. So that for that we will give some kind of commitment only after all the funding agency, all the, you can say, the member state agree uh, for that proposal. But from young perspective, we would like to hear what are your agenda, which we can take it forward as a, you can say, government agency or as a funding agency uh, uh, from our side. So this is the outline where you have to work, and it should be very crisp. It should not be a kind of long report. If you prepare 2 pager on this aspect, I think it is more than enough to accommodate your thought, your perception, your ideas for further deepening of our collaboration. So with this, I think, thank you very much. All the presentation were very nice, quite impressive, active involvement of both the presenter as well as the, you can say, audience. And if something left, if you have any query, any clarification needed, I am here, and Rajan Prasad is also here. He is listening. Means we are listening to each other. And before closing for tomorrow event, means the session of valedictory function, before that report, you can say, presentation. If anyone has doubt, then they can ask. And at the same time, as I said in the beginning, whether from Indian side or other SCO member state, whomever want to take a kind of leadership role to prepare this report jointly in collaboration with all your partners, means participants, they can give their name right now, or otherwise they can send their name through email by 7 p.m. today. Otherwise, we will ask the convener to just say, means suggest few name, and then you will get the email to prepare the report. You have hardly, I think, 12 and say 18 hour, but we believe that with the energy the youth has, you are able to, you will be able to do within this night only. Thank you. Sir Rajan Prasad, you'd like to say something?
No, that's fine, Dr. Arvind. I think what we need is, it would be very nice if these people can really say that he's going to be involved, he's going to be involved, and then give their name and the topic so that they connect themselves and then prepare the presentation.
Any you can ask.
Anchal, maybe you
I
can.
think here there are three participants are there. Dr. Amjad is there, Dr. Kotha Kota is there, and Dr. Satish Murali is there. Are any one of you interested for giving this 30-minute presentation for tomorrow? Since we are having very limited time for
Iqbalji, can you
tomorrow
show me the
session.
participants who are available right now? Because maybe in this screen,
Only these
only this one.
these three are there.
Okay.
So
But he's showing 9.
Dr. Amjad, Dr. Kotha Kota, and Dr. Satish.
But you don't have Kun Won and then those two people in the water resources sector?
Sir, I think it's late evening and some of the participants have already
Left.
left.
Okay.
So
Okay.
But they should be able to contact them. Whoever takes the responsibility now should be able to contact and then get back with the presentation by tomorrow. Because anyway, for environment, that will be the last presentation. So they will have some time, extra time.
right.
What is it? Dr. Satish, are you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
available?
I'm there.
So, will you take the responsibility? I mean, not responsibility, a kind of proactive role to do the what we have suggested.
Yeah, sure, sir. I will take up, sir.
And you may also, maybe Dr. What is Angie Elo?
Dr. Kotha Kota.
Dr. Kotha Kota, can you collaborate with, means coordinate with Dr. Satish? Dr.
Dr. Kotha Kota, are you there?
Anjaneyulu.
Dr. Anjaneyulu.
Yeah, he's there. I still see him on the list.
Probably I may contact Dr. Anjaneyulu and then we'll try to prepare.
Yeah, Satish, I think
Yes, sir.
I would suggest that it's good. I really congratulate you for taking up this responsibility, or rather coordination. I think you should also just try to send a mail to those two people. I would say that in working in water resources from China.
Okay.
Okay. You see, because there are two major aspects that you can really take it up as a challenge. See, one is the process which you are talking about, whether it's leather industry or dye industry. These are all things which have got a very big impact on the society. People have got a feeling that these are the industries which should be there, but they have been doing enough damage. That's the component which people think. Second component which Anjaneyulu was talking about is utilization of the natural material so that you reduce the stress on putting on the environment back using another contaminant material. Then the third component is, once if you have in an inevitable stage, if you have put something into it, how do you remove it? That's what that Kun Won or somebody was talking about the emerging contaminants, right? So whatever is the contaminant, in the process, you are likely to push something into the environment. And then you also have a comprehensive closed cycle where you also recover it in some form of energy or a nutrient or a chemical by itself. So this is a closed cycle system. And this will also reflect in a different way if those two people are also getting involved. is the different way I look at it is the quantum of water that you use in the system. Most of the time we use a lot of water. We don't care for it because we don't built in the costs of water. Cost of water means not only buying water, but they say you are removing a natural resource. So, and then making it extinct in a shorter time. So that also has to be thought of. So water is not free. Unfortunately, we don't we accept it, but we never accept the concept of water requires a lot of money. So the virtual water concept has to be thought into. So if you can really integrate all these things, it's going to be a very, very powerful, but it will be a very ambitious thing. I know what I am talking is would be too ambitious, but try to work out, and then it doesn't matter. Some elements can be reduced later on and so forth. Try to come up with a good presentation, and I'm sure it would have a lot of impact. I can tell you that much. It will bring in a lot of interest among many of the people and the countries, and then it could become a global perspective problem or a global networking problem. Okay?
Oh, sure, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Rajendra Prasad sir, for explaining each and every facts to our youngsters in a very detailed manner. And I think if anybody is having any further queries, then there is a networking launch, and they can comment in the chat box there. And also the participants which are not there, I think Dr. Satish and Dr. Kota Kota, you may ask to Dr. Pooja Devi and Yin Tang Kunwen also if they are able to give some kind of suggestions to you for the presentation, because it's a kind of joint presentation which one need to be present and other can give their suggestions. Since we have very limited time, so please can you do it on urgent basis. And thank you very much for this session.
Actually, where shall I get the contact number? It will be helpful if
Yeah.
you give the
Yes,
mobile
we
number
will.
of.
I was about to say, I think Anchal or some of the organizers should be able to quickly circulate the emails of this particular group
Yes, sir.
to
We will.
everybody.
We will
As
do
well as
it.
the mobile number, sir. For Indian
Fine.
participant, it will be helpful for the mobile number.
Yeah, I don't
Okay,
know how
fine.
much information is readily available, but I think something has to be done. Okay,
Dr. Satish,
maybe Ravi, somebody is there.
Sure.
Rana, Pratap, one of you. I think you guys should be able to provide this information immediately.
Yes, sir. We will provide it for sure.
Yeah, and let them do it for every group. You see, I think that need to be done, right?
Right.
okay, so I have one just a last suggestion to Dr. Satish, since you are taking this
Lead role.
the lead role.
Mm.
If you have any query or anything, you just WhatsApp me, and then I will explain if you require some clarification. So your work should be cover broadly 3 points. One is that you should not highlight that only the green chemistry. You are a you can say open-minded man, thinking that what should be the 4 5 key areas where each country should work. So if we have heard today 10 topic, then some of the topic are maybe subset of some main topic. Okay. So you have to merge those things. Green chemistry is big. It can be used in the manufacturing. It can be used in the mineral exploration. It can be used in the wastewater treatment, anywhere. Okay. Similarly, solid waste management. So that kind of uh, I don't need more than 5 or 6 areas. Okay, which which should not be too limited in a scope, but at the same time it should not be too wide. So you have to be very precise in defining those. You can say in listing those area. And second is that second point should you highlight that yes, the SCO country has the facility, human skill, so that kind of thing to for forging such collaboration. And third is that what is your aspiration, what is your expectation in terms of getting these idea to be implemented by co-investment or investment from the government side. Means what do you further need to start collaboration? Okay, so like you can say, I need funding for collaboration. I need further to go to their lab. I want to access their lab. So for that is a simple term is that you can say there should be exchange of scientists, there should be collaborative work, there should be more symposia, networking event. So that kind of understand that what I mean to say. So these are the mechanism, enabling mechanism, and then you can say adequate facility, access, sharing, and the funding. I hope I try to explain in very layman manner. Okay. So they will send you you can say the list of participants under this theme with their email, and as far as possible the mobile number of Indian participant, so that you can just talk to them, and you can structure a 3 bullet point that you should give information in these three section. They will give, and then you consolidate and make a refinement and some kind of redrafting, drafting, and finalizing, and share with them the final draft. And then tomorrow, either you or if someone come for presentation for 30 minutes, make a PPT on some of the key areas, and then give the presentation before all the audience. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So on that note, I would like to thank our chairs, Professor N.C. Gupta, Professor P. Rajendra Prasad, Dr. Arvind Kumar, and Dr. Aladin Danila for taking out time from their busy schedule and sharing your knowledge with us. We highly appreciate your valuable inputs, which I'm sure will motivate the young minds to pursue strategic research in this direction at the same time. I also would like to thank our moderator, Ms. Anchal Garg, for scientifically conducting the networking session. With this, ladies and gentlemen, we arrive to an end of today's proceedings, day 4 of SCO Conclave. Tomorrow, we'll start sharp at 10:30 a.m., the IST, Indian Standard Time, with the Young Scientist joint presentation on synergic thematic perception for shaping SCO-STI partnership and roadmap for next 10 years. Thematic presentations will be deliberated by experts and young scientists sitting the SCO partnership possibilities. Well, this will be followed by valedictory function where awards to the best presenters will be given away. So I request all the participants from 5 thematic areas to join us tomorrow sharp at 10:30 a.m. on day 5. Thank you so much.